Everyone, I thought I'd try to do a video message while I'm driving my car. It seems more and more lately I'm traveling around the country doing different things, and it's becoming harder and harder for me to find time to sit down and just write to you all. So I figured I'd use this time while I'm driving perhaps to relay to you some of the things that have been going on here in Cambodia. Firstly, again, I just want to thank you all for your support, for your love, for your prayers. We certainly need them, and at the moment I think we're all feeling a little bit stretched. We have just come back from a short stint in Australia, but I had to go back again briefly for the passing of my father's brother, my uncle Lloyd, who passed away just a couple of weeks ago, and I went back to Australia to be with the family over that time. But came back to a very, very busy time here in Cambodia. Judy's been doing an awesome job in Kampong Cham, and she has been looking after the project pretty well in its entirety, as I take on more of a role as the country manager and having to fill in the gaps around the country. In the last little while in Kampong Cham, we have seen another 6-year-old girl come into our care, albeit for a short time, where the father had been involved in raping this child. And we had to step in. We were in a position where we found out about this from one of the girls that we had rescued in Siem Reap, and it was her sister, and she wanted to see somebody intervene in that situation, and we were able to involve the authorities and to see the girl taken away from that abusive situation. Immediately after that, the father then attempted to kill the mother for being involved in dobbing him in for the crime. So that's something that's happened only in recent times, and although I share these stories and sometimes they sound very shocking, the good thing, the good outcome is that this girl is in a safe place tonight. She's in a good place tonight, and we are going to be doing what we can to support her and help her as she prepares to give testimony in a court case in the future against her own father. As you can imagine, that's a very traumatic experience for any child to go through, and it's part of the role that we have here to prepare the children for that. I'm driving. The reason it's bumping around so much here is that I'm actually driving back from Siem Reap. I try to get up to Siem Reap at least once a month to be able to just encourage and help and look at the work that we're doing up in Siem Reap. We have just opened up our second house in Siem Reap. Each of the homes in Siem Reap hold approximately 12 to 13 girls, and so this will enable us to double the operation that we have in Siem Reap. I came up to have a look at the house that they've just rented and to see in what capacity I might be able to help out, because one of the other volunteers in Siem Reap is currently away on holidays for a month or two in Canada, and I just wanted to check how Robin was going. While I was up there, we were able to identify a 14-year-old girl with HIV who is working on the streets selling herself to survive. Comes from a very poor family, and we're able to meet with her and share with her and talk with her mother as well, who is very worried about her daughter working on the streets. It wasn't something that she wanted her daughter to do, but her daughter has gone to the city to try and find work rather than stay in the poor conditions where the family and the mother lives. The mother also has HIV. As you can imagine, it's a very desperate situation, and we were able to intervene in that situation. This girl is now in our care. That just happened yesterday, and we were able to bring her safely into the home. She was so excited and so happy that her old life has finished and that her new life began. In fact, as part of the talk with her, I said to her quite clearly, you realize that today your life changes. Today your old life is finished and there's a new life ahead of you. And her face just beamed with joy. It was an amazing thing to be there and to see that, and to see her come into the fold of the other and with the other girls in our project in Siem Reap. We were able to provide lunch for her and her mother, and after that I headed out with that girl and one of our social workers to be able to visit with some of her friends who also are working on the streets, similar ages, 15 or 16 years of age. We were able to locate only one of those girls during the day, and she is actually feeling quite sick and had been resting. in the care of her grandmother. Both of her parents have died from HIV/AIDS. She also has HIV, and so her being sick at the moment is quite a concern to us. The grandmother assured us that she would not be going out to work any longer, and that she just wanted her to recover for a few days at home, and then she would allow her to come into Destiny Rescue, where we can teach her and train her and give her some skills so that she can get a job in the real world without having to resort to selling herself on the streets. Grandmother lives in a very, very poor slum. It really is just a corrugated iron shack that's there. In fact, you all know the size of me. I was quite worried going into the home whether it was going to be able to hold me up, and so were they. It really was quite poor conditions that they live in, and she's just lying on a bamboo floor, this girl, trying to recover from an illness which we couldn't quite determine what it actually was. But the good news again is that this girl has said she wants to be able to stop doing the things that she's doing. The only reason she's doing them is because that was the only option that she had. She did talk about a married couple who coordinate and help them to find customers. So in other words, that are pimping them. And it's going to take a little while, I think, for us to be able to continue to ask questions and work through that to see if we can find who these people are and bring them to justice as well. So that's a little bit about what's been going on in recent times around Kampong Cham and Siem Reap. When I came back to Phnom Penh and had a look around in the project down there, I also was following up on a girl that I had met at one of the karaoke bars that's there. She's only about 16 years of age, and she also is saying that she's keen to be able to get out, but she is shackled with a debt of about $450. And that debt has come about because her brother sold his 3-year-old daughter for $600. And her mother was very angry and upset about that, but had no way to be able to buy this child back from this pedophile who had taken this 3-year-old. And so she put her daughter, the 16-year-old, into work at the karaoke bar. It sounds twisted, but this is how the story goes, so that she could earn the money to be able to pay back the money that was owing for the 3-year-old. The mother ended up borrowing money, and now they owe this debt to the karaoke bar, and so she's in the process of trying to pay that off and is worried about being able to get out. Now, we can come up with solutions for that, but it just gives you a bit of an insight into what is going on in the lives of these people and how difficult and complicated the problem really is. But this girl, I'm hoping to meet her again tomorrow, and if not tomorrow, definitely on Friday, to see if we can get her out of the karaoke bar where she also is going to be sold and abused, and get her into a safe environment, and we'll figure out a way to be able to get this debt paid off, and to make sure that we do what we can to follow up on the allegations of this child being sold, and see if we can get a prosecution of the brother and also of the perpetrator who actually bought this child. So it is a very dark world, a very seedy world that we live in over here. I have to tell you though, we still enjoy living here. We still consider this our second home. It doesn't feel like we're on holidays or just on a short-term contract with Destiny. We really have fallen in love with the people that are here, and can see that there is a real difference that can be made if we're prepared to put ourselves on the line and step into these places to help these kids. So there's a lot of work still being done. There's a lot of groundwork that needs to be done to make sure the models that we're using are holding up. There's nobody else that I'm aware of in the country that's doing things the way that we are doing them. And so in a lot of respects, we're pioneering the work here. We haven't got it perfect, and there's a lot of gaps, and there's a lot of things we still need to be able to do. And the areas that I see right now that are most important for us to be able to fill are the areas of volunteer workers and helpers. I do desperately need people to come and take on the role of project manager in the Phnom Penh area, and that's somebody who would have a business mind, preferably a parent themselves, so that they can understand and know and love and become like parental figures over the project. I'm also needing English teachers. We see English as a definite skill that we can teach these girls that will open up opportunities for them and job opportunities, and we want to be able to make sure we're teaching them a good quality English. And I need Westerners to be able to help us with that, because they have a skill set that the local Cambodian people just don't have. So if there's anyone out there that might be thinking about a challenge in their life and would like to give a year or two of their life to helping these types of girls, we would love to hear from you and love to talk with you about that. For each one of you, you've been a tremendous encouragement to Judy and I and the family, and we just appreciate you so much. Thank you for your prayers, thank you for your financial support and your encouragement. The kids are doing well. I now have Talisha settled back into Australia, and she is loving it over there. I have Brooklyn, our eldest, as you would have known from our last email to you, has become married now. She got married over here in Cambodia in February, and she's now living back on the Sunshine Coast and doing well. She's just landed her dream job, working at as a wedding planner, something that she studied for and she's wanted to do for most of her life. So she is very, very excited about landing this job. I have Talisha, who's still studying to do early childhood and working in daycare centres and things, and she's living with my sister in Gympie. Chanel is looking after the cafe still in Kampong Cham. We have Chanel heading back to Australia though in July to start studies in veterinary sciences, and we have a new volunteer that's coming in June to be able to learn the ropes and to take over that role that Chanel has had. His name is Richard, and he has experience at running cafes in Australia, and so we're very hopeful that he's going to be able to introduce some new things to us in Cambodia and help us to build and grow that cafe. For the two boys, they're doing extremely well with their studies here. I think they struggle though being in Cambodia, although they do enjoy it and say that they love it. I know they also miss the opportunities they do have back in Australia, just to belong to a sports team, to be able to have normal friends, to be able to go skateboarding and do the things that boys do. During the days, they're really locked up within the house doing their schooling and that sort of stuff, and because of where we live, there's not a lot of other opportunities for them to go out and do stuff. So it's a very big sacrifice that our children make, particularly in being over here, and we're determined to be able to send them back home over Christmas time, to be able to mix with their friends maybe for 6 weeks or so, and they can spend their time rotating around the various friends that they have and reconnecting back in Australia. I guess that time will come around fairly quickly. We'll have to start looking for flights, cheap flights on the way back. So there's a couple of areas anyway of personal interest and personal need that we have. If you want to commit that to prayer and just think about those things, feel free to share any of this information with other people so they also can learn and know about what it is that's happening over here and how Destiny Rescue is reaching into the lives of these kids and how they can be a part of what we do. I suppose I better concentrate a little bit more on the road, and there's quite a few obstacles, as you've probably seen, that I have to dodge and be mindful of. The roads are very different here to back in Australia, and so I hope a bit of that imagery that you're seeing now gives you a bit of a feel as to what it's like driving here in Cambodia. So God bless you all, and thank you again for everything that you do. See you later.